Hello and welcome to a special edition of China Biz coming from the 2012 Beijing International Automotive Exhibition. Now, one of the hottest topics on the microblogs in recent months has been the issue of school bus safety, following a number of fatal accidents around the country over the past year. Chinese automaker JAC signed a letter of intent this week with US company Navistar with the aim of bringing their North American experience into the Chinese market to improve both vehicle quality and the implementation of safety regulations. Earlier, I spoke to two executives from Navistar to find out how they plan to improve things here in China.
In the States, on a given day, there's 480,000 school buses that are moving kids. 300,000 of those are ours. On a given day in the States, there's 26 million kids getting on buses. 15 million students are riding our buses. So we have a wealth of knowledge. We think about China and think about the magnitude of the number of kids, the size of the potential market, but it's something we're used to.
Now, it's one thing to sort of have an international symposium here in Beijing with people from the States and people from around China. It's another thing to try and translate the things that you're talking about, whether in terms of safety and regulations, into some of the more rural areas in China where perhaps there's a lot more violations of this type of thing. How do you overcome that challenge?
Well, that's a great question, but what's really interesting about China is that from a geographical, regional perspective, if you think about the United States and Canada and the very rural and outreaching areas, it's very similar to what we have faced in the United States. That's what we know. We'd love to share that here, and if there's a fit, we'd like to explore that here, knowing that we just can't pick a model up from there and bring it here, but we're looking to partner and say, what is the right model for China to do in China, right?
Manufacturers clearly have far more control over the quality of their vehicles than they do over issues such as traffic safety regulations and the enforcement of those rules. I asked Leo Lu, the GM of Navistar's business operations in China, what companies such as his could do to reduce the number of accidents.
For the legislations, take the recent school bus activities, we are actually working closely with some of the government institutions and universities here in China to share our experiences and expertise gained from the development of the US school bus industry. We have an academy which we call IC University, where we provide trainings to our dealers, our customers, government officials, and also the drivers, so that they could understand better the concept of being safe.
The central government can put out certain regulations, but the enforcement of those regulations, the further away you get from Beijing, can perhaps be very tricky. Out in more rural areas, it can be tricky. How does that apply to particularly the safety standards for vehicles, road safety, and so on?
Well, I think, yes, the central government is putting more and more attention on this safety issue. And also the local governments are gradually getting aligned with the central government. Because, again, take the school bus, which is the safest transportation for students. We have been in contact with many Chinese local government leaders. They all stress that they want to implement the safest regulations and practices for their students in their jurisdictions.
Where we see that it works is where business and government come together to work for what rational, solutions that not only achieve the goal, but also do it in an economic and efficient way. Industry, business, government working together is where we've seen the biggest success.
Now, I know you're just in the initial stages of a deal with JAC. How profitable do you foresee the business model being here in China compared with back in the States?
Right. We think at the core that from a profitability standpoint, that they're all the core building blocks to put together a great business model and a profitable one. Some of the regulations, as we see initially, and what we have for the States, there will be some trade-offs. I do think there's an opportunity, if you would go back to what our experiences in the States, it developed over time. I think there's an opportunity to come up with a product and a model that is very efficient, very cost-effective, and certainly solves the goal.
That's all for today on China Biz. I'm Mark Dreyer. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.